Shalom, Mishpacah. It's not Friday, but you know, we're getting the video done. Pardon the AC in the background, you may hear it going on and off. But first I'm gonna show you how to set up the anchoring for the resistance bands or braided cords. I think that's what they're calling tubing, resistance tubing. All right, so we've got a couple of different anchoring options. This is for a rip trainer that I have, but since I'm gonna be using two different tubings, I'm gonna set them both up at the same time, so I don't have to keep opening and closing the door. This is one I ordered specifically for resistance tubing, and I'm also gonna look at the one from SPRI, which is the company that made the bands I'm gonna be using today. So all you gotta do is find a door that closes towards you, like this. Hinges are on the other side of the door. So for our, most of our exercise is gonna be about waist high. So I'm gonna drop one here, and I'm gonna put one, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it over the top. Then I just close the door. Uh-oh, this might be a little too big. That's not gonna work. All right, option number 2. This is the anchoring for my TRX, but I'll use it and make it work. So that one will go over the top. This one's gonna go alongside the door. Now, all the force is gonna be dispersed through the framing of the door. And since the tubing itself expands or stretches, a lot of the forces is gonna be dispersed through the tubing. With the TRX, your body weight is on a static or a strap that does not stretch, so that would transfer force to the frame of the door. So we're going to show you the set and then we'll get started. All right, this is just FYI. I've got the block there. That's 100 pounds of dumbbells. They're nesting, so they fit one inside the other. So if you ever hear me talking about the block party, now you know what I'm talking about. It's a little different than what we normally think of. And there's my band set. I've got a gold, lightest resistance, green, the red, the blue, and then the purple, which is the heaviest resistance currently available through that company. So we're gonna put them on the door. We're gonna get to work. Already stretched out, so we'll just jump right in. Do the exercises, give a little explanation, set up, and then do the opposing exercise. So here we go with the rows. Low row, we're gonna make sure, first off, just pull your shoulders up so we know what not to do. We're gonna do the exercises with our shoulders down and slightly back, because typically we're like this, the shoulders are rounded forward. So pull them back and down, keep them there, and all we're gonna do is pull the elbows toward the waist. Release, pull, pause, and release. Now, both of my feet are parallel, meaning I don't have one foot stepped in front of the other, which is what you can do to kind of offset and give yourself some balance. So I've got my left foot forward, my right foot back, but I still want to make sure that my pelvis, my chest, my sternum is facing that anchor point. Typically with one foot forward, we start to rotate. No, we're gonna keep everything facing forward. Pull the elbows toward the waist, pause, and release. Don't let the band bully you, boom. So that's our low row. 4, now I'm gonna switch feet, just so that I'm balanced. Now with the high row, I'm just gonna pull my elbows back in line with my shoulders. Boom. Pull, pause, and release. So you're gonna travel the same path. What some people do is they pull, drop the arms, and go forward. Keep the arms parallel to the floor, pull, pause, and release. Pull, pause, and release. Now what you can do is squeeze the shoulder blades together without elevating your shoulders. So I'm not driving the elbows any further back. They line up with the shoulders, and then I squeeze those shoulder blades together and release. Again, keeping the shoulders down and back. Pull, pause, and release. So the 2 pulling exercises to work the back. So most of us can find somewhere to do a push-up. You can even do push-ups off the wall if you don't want to if you find being on the floor is challenging. You can offload some of your weight by standing and push here. So we're really going to focus on the bands. So now we're going to set up for our next exercise, which is the chest press. I don't think that we need a whole lot of explanation. Most of us have done a push-up, so this is basically a standing chest press. So what I like to do is take my thumb, hook the band this way under my arm. So I'm going to get set. I guess I can somewhat face the camera. I'll give you both views. So we're going to push out and back. You notice my elbows aren't up here. They're down along kind of the A-frame. So they're kind of here. They're not here. So I'm kind of like an A or a triangle. My elbows are about 45. So if this is 90 degrees, this is 0. Or opposite, this is 0 and this is 90. I'm going to find 45 about somewhere in the middle. Now what I'm doing is I'm pressing out and then slightly up. What you don't want to do is move your torso around. That's why that foot is there. So we're gonna tighten up your butt, bend your knees, pull that belly button in, drive out, bring it back. Push out, bring it back. Now, once we really get going, we can just stop where your elbows line up with your torso and push back out. We don't have to let the hands return toward the chest. Puts an unnecessary stress on the shoulder. So we get you out there, here, push out. Control the band. Leave a slight bend in the elbow. We don't want to lock out the elbow. We'll get into the damages that occur to the articulated surfaces of the bones a little bit later. So, this is great for the upper body. We had 2 pulling exercises, 1 pushing exercise. We typically want to go 2 to 1 because the chest, those muscles are short. We got tablets, we got children. We're cradling like this. So these muscles are already short and weak. So the warm-up I do, we actually engage these muscles when we stretch the back. But we typically are going to have 1 chest exercise to 2 pulling exercises. And typically I'll do 2 rows. So the high row is counterbalancing the chest. So just keep that in mind. We're focusing on the neglected area, which is the back. It's also going to help with your posture. The more we pull those shoulders into a neutral position and your shoulder girdle is attached to your ribs, the less compression we have on the ribs. It's difficult for your lungs to fully expand, to take in oxygen if they're crowded like this. So the posture is going to help open up the chest, shoulder girdle. More oxygen in means more oxygen in the blood, more oxygen to the brain, more mental clarity, mental acuity, just all the good things you get from being high on oxygen. So I'm going to transition into some exercises for the arm. And I'm going to grab the red one. For the ladies in the bunch, a lot of what I've heard with my clients is they don't like the bat wings, lunch lady arms, meaning this part is waving back at them. They stop waving and it just keeps going. Tricep, we got 3 heads on this muscle back here. Most of the time, this is the one that gets worked. What we want to do is target the one here. So for that, there's something called a French press, or we can do for this one, I want to kind of anchor it up a little bit higher. Okay, first let me go over the French press. What I tend to do is to connect the handles this way. So I just tuck it under that thumb. Then I take this thumb, lay it over the back of my hand. So the higher up we go, the more we can target the inside head on that tricep. So you're gonna get to a point where you got some tension on the strap. Boom. We're gonna let the elbow bend, and we're gonna push out. So again, I've got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I use a little leverage by driving that front foot into the ground to stabilize my torso. So that's the tricep, that's one version. I'm gonna move my anchor to the top so I can show you the other version. Since I am a little taller. All right, so with this one, we're gonna use palms up. So we're pulling down instead of pressing down. Palms are facing us, elbows alongside the body. Give me this red. I can already feel that's a little too much tension for me. Feed the red one through. Again, I'm gonna make sure they're about even. Just moving up. All right, so with my palms up, I'm gonna bend my knees. I'm gonna tighten my glutes. I'm gonna make sure my shoulders stay over my hips. My hips are just behind my heels. Elbows are alongside the body. Pull the band down. I could probably get away with using the gold one, but what I can do is stand closer to the door to reduce the resistance. If I need more resistance, I can step away from the door. So notice, I'm not moving my upper arm. That upper arm is married to those ribs. Pull. Notice I'm not driving over, I'm not trying to power over with my shoulders. Keep the shoulders stacked over the hips. Now for the biceps, we can take a similar approach. We're gonna stabilize your upper arm. I've got some distance here, I'm gonna move over. I'm going blue for my bicep curls. Turn those palms up. I'm gonna put 1 foot forward. All right, so what I'm gonna do is keep my upper arm still, pull my pull my fists and forearms toward my forehead. Shoulders are down and back. This is a little more challenging. The easier way to go about this is to put the band under your foot, but since we're rolling with our door anchors, I'm gonna show you how you can set this up. So the doors have hinges. I'm gonna bring the camera around. All right, we're back with our plain anchor. So what I would do is, well, I'm gonna have to pull the door first. So I would start at the edge of the door, put my anchor under, okay? And I'll just pull it along the door and then pull it up. That hinge is gonna prevent it from moving any further while I'm working on it. So with that, I'm gonna close the door. All right, we're back for the biceps. We've got it set up. So again, we're gonna make sure the band is evenly fed through the anchor pillow or the door pillow or door anchor. Same is gonna apply. Just to exaggerate, the shoulders are here. We don't want them there. As you fatigue, they're gonna do that. Concentrate on keeping them down and back. Paste those upper arms next to your ribs. And all you're gonna do is pull, keeping the elbow pointed toward the ground. Now, if you find that the resistance is not enough, just take a step back. All right, that'll work. So, I'm gonna do a few reps. Again, your timer set it for 45 seconds. They've got gym timers, and your phone also has a timer on it. So elbows are pointed toward the ground, pull, boom, boom, boom. That little pause in the middle is gonna help if you feel that it's too light. It'll start to wear on you when you get through. So keeping the elbows toward the ground. So 90 degrees and about 45 degrees. Do not drive the elbows back. Do not drive them up. Oops. Keep them pointed toward the ground and the upper arm buried alongside the ribs. If you want, you can stagger that stance, put one foot forward, 90, about 45, 90, and down. 90, 45, 90, and down. All right, so that takes care of the upper body, nice little circuit. Now, we can put it together this way. We can do low row, which is the first exercise I did, high row, chest press, high row. So the rowing, the bicep is a secondary mover. So from the rowing, you would go triceps and then biceps.